you're all doing too, so I'm just going to keep it to this gallery view. Is that okay? Because otherwise I can't see your work, and it's just like I might as well do a Facebook Live. Right, so that's exactly what we wanted in terms of, these are our very blue blues, okay? And we're going to start with those. You have 3 blues so far. Don't worry, we are pushing quite quickly. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so get your palette knife nice and clean. This is where I should have said you might need a cloth. Of course, I'm going to use my dungarees. I did a workshop there before, what do you call it, before not lockdown, before my holiday, and I had 60 kids on, and I could see that the memo hadn't got there about, you know, having a cover on the table or anything. I could just see these kids. And some of them were sitting on sofas, they weren't even at tables, and you know, and I'm just flicking between screens saying, you might need a new cloth. So always remember your cloth. Right, so skip up, let's go with the dark first. Remember, from all the other landscapes, the dark tends, I think it's more to do with the photograph really, with it being a photo, but often you have these 2 corners. So get your dark right on there, okay? Push it onto the canvas. Oops. I actually need more, because I did say if you ought to use a small one, but I thought I'd use big for you to see it. And you're going to pull that right across. Start at whichever side you want, left or right. And immediately I need more paint, so I'm going to do that. If you're mixing more paint, don't worry if it's not exactly the same color. Get it in the same tone, and that's okay. That keeps that whole harmony. So spread it on. Some parts you want to go ever so slightly lighter so that it's a wee bit more, you know, gappy there the way I am, and other parts you want to be nice and solid. So for the solid parts, you need that paint on and a very light touch. I talk about spreading butter a lot with it, and it really is like that. If you've ever had really hot butter on hot toast, butter on hot toast. Yeah, our dark's on. It's very dark actually, isn't it? So get to the slightly lighter one now. I haven't even cleaned my palette knife. I'm letting the 2 of them be in together, you'll see. And then you're going to actually go just a little bit down. You want to be half on it. So I'm half on that. And you're going to pull that across and interrupt that tone with it, that color. Push into the palette knife too when you get across and you feel like you're losing it a little bit. Just don't scrape with one side of it. Push in with it and you'll see the color will come off. Lovely. Yeah, and just to really enjoy the application of it. As a friend of mine said, palette knife painting eats paint, and it really does. So you will use quite a bit of paint, but your painting will be gorgeous. I'm going to make up a bit more of that second color. So that was our navy with more light blue added. So I'm going to make up a little bit more of that. When you're mixing your color, get it really solid. Now you can go over the top of your flamingos next if you want, but I will on one, I won't on the other, just so you can see when you're new to palette knife, it can be quite intimidating if you lose it, you know, and then you have to try and find where the lines are again. So let yourself have that. And look, you'll see my dark is really going into the light, and that's okay. Another way to kind of bring that together is to scrape into one and to pull it down. You're just pulling paint. That's what I talk about with the other one. If you're ready, we're getting stuck now into our big light, the real light one now. Get that scooped right on. I have the whole thing that I've mixed on there. And I'm going to go over the top of just a little bit, about an inch from the right-hand side. And I'm nearly going right down to the horizon, but I will be lightening that up again. Sorry. You okay? Yeah, that's okay. Oh, right.
Do you have an envelope?
No, actually, it's okay. I don't think I do. And I'm going in between the Flamingo. It's okay. I just say I'll bring it later. We have a birthday party on the street, so Michael is going to steal some of my art to give to them. Right, so I wanted us to see what those three stripes are like, okay? And then I want you to take your light again and go into, look at those three. So I have all of these gone. So take your light, go back in there, and then add up a new blue that's in between those two, but try and use as much as what you already have, your blues and your light blues. And you can scrape off and keep mixing. So you're going to mix it in between blue again, really. Let me show you where I'm at. And again, then I'm just going to go in over this is a very light touch now. You'll see how this is slightly different this time. So I have it on here, but I'm really touching that. And that's where you start to see technique come through. So rather than scrape into it, this is where your layers are happening. So you've got a little bit on it and you're just skimming it. And in bits where you want to blend a wee bit more, use the tip of the brush to just carry the paint up or to bring the paint down. Bring a few wee scores of that nice dark in there. Cool. Good, everyone's getting straight in. Depending where you are, I'm going to make a really, really light, like verging on the, as close to white as I can get with whatever blue's left on my palette knife. Oh, a little bit of black's just going in there, but going for really, really, really light blue. So if you look at our image, we have this band, and then there's, you see clouds are always hanging about somewhere. So those, they're certainly hanging about in Northern Ireland today. They're everywhere, clouds, right. So I've loaded that up with the lightest color. And what I'm doing is rather than use the palette knife that way, facing up, I'm going this way and I'm just going to dab that on, like pinching it on. And remember, this is our painting of what we see. This is not a realist. This is not realism. It's a different class, that is. And whatever you've pinched on there, you can smooth off if you like. If you're working around the flamingos, just make sure you don't panic when you come up to the neck of them. Push it right in and rotate the knife around the way that you would the butter. Just pushing it round. Lovely. Lovely, lovely. You see that okay? I'm gonna, you can take a little bit of that white that's come there that we put on. You can dab it around near the horizon if you like, so that there's a little bit of a break, and then back to that very light color again. Lovely. More textures and layers. Also, the more you can focus on getting it, I know I say about revisiting, which you can always do. Please don't feel you ever have to stop at one layer. But whenever it's wet, the more you navigate and get that all down to begin with, then the better it is really. And let some bits be lumpy, let some bits be very smooth, let some bits be opaque. Now, the next thing we're going to do is mix our like turquoise. Okay, so to do that, clean your palette knife again, but we're going to use the blue that we already have been mixing. We're going to use this area, that idea of the harmony again. Right, turquoise can be really frustrating, and anybody that was on the last, I think were you all on the last landscape, it can be really frustrating. I don't want you to overthink it. If it's more towards the greeny blue, like, let me see, there's a blue on this. If it's more towards this green than it is like a real bright turquoise, that's okay. Mine's going to be, the more lemon your yellow is, the easier it can be to mix, but let's just give it a go, okay? So, bit of blue, put it down. Now I still have some of that white on mine. Sorry, you're going to put it down over where the blue is. Apologies. Here we go. Now, try a little bit of yellow to begin with. Let's mix one bit at a time, and we can always double it up. It's lovely. So get your nice green. And showing me your green when you've mixed it, so I can have an idea of what the tone will be. So how's your green looking there? The green to begin with. Good? You all happy? Well, yours looks lovely and bright already, Anne. Yes, that's great. Yeah, once you start with the bright, yes, you have to add a little bit. You see, I just don't want you to be worried about that. Go for more blue in that. If you're happy with your green that you've got, add some water. Now this is where add some white, sorry, and some more blue. Mine's actually nearly mint green here. So keep adding a little bit of yellow or a little bit of blue and let it mix the whole way through till you get, I might just use this green. This is what I do, you see. Turquoise can be so frustrating. So you're watching me push on through. Basically, you're making a green and then you're adding more blue so that you get on the turquoise scale. Like mine's really on there. I'm also, yes, that's lovely, Claire. We'll go with, I think, because I'm using cobalt blue as well, if you've ultramarine blue, it tends to be a little bit better with the the turquoise, but really hammer in a lot of blue there. Really blue your green up, and then add in your white, so you're getting. I'm going to go with this. If that gives anybody any sense of happiness.
Huh?
I know. No. To be fair, mine's like, look, mine's nearly on the mint green. Let me see yours, Anne, because it actually looked totally grand.
No, I've changed it. Let's see. It's not the right colour.
It's okay. Add in more blue to that. Add in more blue. Don't add any more yellow. Add more blue and a little bit of white. Emma, are you getting on okay? Why do I do this to y'all? Because then everyone's like,
I don't know. I think it is. I was worried, but it's kind of close.
It is. No, that's good. That's good. You'll get what I mean. It's just nice to not have blue on blue on blue all the time on the sea. Is everybody ready to apply? Anne, how are you feeling? You get it?
Oh, no problem. Get on with it.
Okay. Right. So we're going to just add this in. We're going to do a darker version of this in a minute, but to begin with, you're just going to put that on and draw it across, just the way we've done. I want it the whole way across if you can. Leave out your birds. And try to make that horizon tight. So look at the way I've turned my, I'm turned the palette knife and I'm pushing down so that the lines are a little bit more straight. I've also trying to turn it over so that I can really. I remember saying there, it's like icing sugar. See, whenever you have that light touch with it, enjoy pushing the paint right up to the line. Okay, we're going to make a lighter version of that turquoise then, and a darker version. So we'll go with the lighter first, because we're going to bring it down here below. So take a chunk of white and add it to one side of it. Don't overthink it if it doesn't look turquoisey, please. So you'll see mine is very light minty green nearly. Okay, and scoop that up. We're going to add that on and pull that across too. And let it indicate, take it up a wee bit and pull some of the dark colour down. Scrape into one. Now, I would recommend you go over where the legs are. You can always add in legs, but this here, because the legs are so small, you don't want to be trying to navigate around. So there you go. Have your two clouds to your flamingos. I don't know why I say half an hour, because they're never half an hour, are they? 45 minutes. But that's good. Okay, to make your darker version of it, just keep what's on your palette knife and add in some blue to that green that the first greeny blue that you've got. Add in quite a chunk of blue and the teeniest bit of black. Okay, whatever you've got on there, I want you to go right up to the horizon with. Mine's very blue looking now, but it just is lovely to add that on. So that is your darker version of the purples. Oh, there's a bit of red managed to make its way on, right? And again, let it come down into there. The lighter you are with the, there's, I've got quite a bit there.
So where did that go?
Sorry, that went right up at the horizon. Your darker turquoise is right up there at the horizon. It's like a little line up where the very lightest blue meets.
Okay.
Yep. You're all doing really well. Following very well as always. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, and stick with me with all of this, okay? Scrape off whatever you have on your palette knife there. Get it as clean as you can get it. Doesn't matter if there's a few wee things. Make yourself a peach or an orange, right? So orange is red and yellow, and make a good significant dose of it as well. More of the yellow than of the red. And then add in some white. Going to make your sand now. But we don't want our sand to look the same color as our flamingo. So we're going to bring in a little bit of black. I have too much here, so feel free to. So if it's too dark and it's too overwhelming for you, scoop it up and put it right into the white and leave all the excess behind you. Adding a bit more yellow, warm it up.
What are we using to achieve that colour again?
That is your red, a good bit of yellow, a little bit of red, and a tiny bit of black.
Okay.
And then I'm now in the white as well. So you're mixing an orange really to begin with. So that started off as an orange, then has a little bit of black in it. So you start to get under the grey scale, and then a lot of white. It's still probably too dark for me at the minute, but that's what you're wanting to go for. That. It's more flamingos in County Down Beach than it is on Barbados Beach at the minute with that dark sand. I'm going to get a second board. So orange, get a nice solid orange, mostly on the yellow scale, so a lighter orange. And then big dose of white into that with a tiny bit of black. There's a little less hiding with palette knife. In one way there is, but in another way there's not. You know, you can't mask the same. Right, has anybody got to that yet? I'm going to scoop that up and I'm going to add that in with more white, okay? I will probably use that, but that's my peach with a little bit of black and a lot of white, but I'm not happy with that, so I'm going to add in here with a lot of white. For palette knives as well, try to use titanium white or a white, not a mixing white, because often it keeps it a little thicker whenever you use the white paint that has a body in it. Now there we go, we're getting nice and light here now. Right, there we go. I'm happy with this. Now how's everybody getting on? So it becomes a real feel. It's like whenever we're doing the peach tones for, if it's still too dominant, just lift a little bit of it out and put a lot of white with it. Just don't worry, I know that it seems like a lot of waste of paint, but you can add that in at the end. And if you have it ready, just add it on underneath here. Oh, I love that. Look, whenever you add that beach on, you're not a beach. And just because of time, and I want you to enjoy the actual flamingo, we're going to blot that out quite solidly, and then you're going to make a lighter version again of it. So And again, there I'm just scraping off where my palette knife is. I don't mind if little flecks of orange look come through, or little bits of red. But I would like you to keep the sand. Sand tends to be smooth with a few like there's even bits of blues interrupted mine, but that's okay. That's lovely. You want to bring that down. You take some of your darker one and dot it on the same way that pinching that we did. So take your, that's my darker one that I mixed and wasn't as happy with. I'm going to dot that in. You'll find some of your red, like my red is extremely dominant here. I'm using much less of it to try and mix for the Flamingo coming up. And it is so strong and dominant. It's like not easy to do, to work with. I'm actually getting really excited about you making the Flamingo color here. Okay. So how are we all getting on with our sand? If in doubt, just make grey and add in a little bit of yellow to it if you want to do that. That makes it's a little less warm, but it just sometimes makes people feel less scared than making the whole peach thing. Like it is quite tricky to do. Anybody need any help?
Not yet.
Oh, you're all fab, honestly. What a way to end my week. Fabulous. If you have your sand complete, make a pink. So my pink was my third attempt there, but that is a little bit of red, a lot of white, and I mean a dab of yellow, like not even, it's a wee smidgen of yellow, but you're just making a pink. Doesn't matter if it's that color, doesn't matter if it's more orangey pink, go for a pink. If you're buying any new paints, always just get lots of the white if you can. It doesn't have to be the highest grade of white. Just get lots. You'll always use your white paint when you're doing your mixing like we do. I'm also really excited about, I was thinking eventually teaching us all how to make our own paint, like our own paint. Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah. I'll only be bringing my regulars along for that because everyone else will be like, I want to out of this group. But it's a sad, you know, hopefully you're all learning about colour mixing through the classes. But when you get to actually making your paint, it's a whole other level of fun. Okay, if you have a pink made, now try to get it on the, I know, so a lot of you have smaller ones. If you're one like this, I think Michael, you're up about this size too, and Anne, about half of it want filled. Emma and Claire, it doesn't matter if all of yours is a nice shape and it's smaller, but I'm only going to put really on half. And then where the body of the Flamingo is, you're going to just, rather than doing these sweeping motions back and forth, these are nearly like your circular ones. You're trying to keep it nice, and you want to give that indication that it's a round body. So we're getting this down to begin with, and you're following your neck as well if you can. And then we're going to add on top of that. But at the minute, we're indicating that our lovely flamingo is actually on this beautiful beach. Where the feathers are, you don't need, keep that nice and rugged. Where the feathers are at the left-hand side of your, nice and rugged. I'm just going to lift mine off the canvas so I can concentrate on this neck. So this is where you have to think a little bit more and put more on the tip of it. Treat it a bit like a pencil. You're basically drawing it down. And the beak, so you want to leave where the beak is. You want to leave that, and the beak's going to come down there. So okay, happy to do your second one now as well. If this is all too much for you, do you know the beauty of palette knife? Just wipe out where that second one is. If you think, like, let's see, we'll do another 15 minutes if everyone's still okay, or 10 minutes. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Still, okay. Yeah, that's okay. I can hear another wee mini there. Right, so we're going to go into the second flamingo. When we've got this far, we want to do it right. Now you will need more of that light pink, so if you can remember how you made it, you might want to make it now before we start interrupting it and making a darker version or something similar to it. If you make any line too chunky, it's okay, we can go over that again, or you can push it out. Don't worry about your legs yet.
Ali, I think what I've actually made here is some dinosaurs. So that's cool too.
It looks like that to me. Well, what I was going to say is what I'm about to do is I've loaded up some more of that leftover green, and I'm going to put it into where the neck is. Just make your necks a bit skinnier by using one of the blues, or you've got such thick paint elsewhere that you can just scoop into that. Stick with it. Once we get those long legs on them. Mine don't look too much different. Mine are swans, look. Still pretty colours. Right, so one of my attempts at my pink was this, which turned out to be very orange. But that started off as red and white, and then I added in yellow. But that's okay. I'm going to use that nice orange. So if you have an orange from earlier, you're going to use that to go over your flamingo. Looking at this, let's break it down. Orange head, neck's more orange, back of the feathers are more orange, back of the bird is more orange, neck more orange. So you're just subtly adding those in, just drawing the paint down, and then where the feathers are, it's like the texture of our goldfinch, except you're rather than doing 4 different layers of 4 different shades of it, you're trying to achieve that depth with the thick paint. Often the less thought about, the better with palette knife too. You want to go with that real movement. There's another darker orange of mine. You'll see my little palette of orange here. Like I'm even going to use that real darker orange as well. Anybody want me to see there? See if we can give any guidance. I want you just to stick with your bird. I'm going to turn mine around so I can see it. But like, as you can see, it starts to become more of a shape. I am a shape. My necks have gone quite thick here too, so I'm going to fix those in a bit. But I want to just see how you're all doing. I want us to add in the legs now too before we do too much more. The legs and the feet. Okay. So make a grey now. Stop what you're doing just to make a grey, a very dark grey, for the beak. So black, you only need very little, and white if you have it. So I'm just going to use whatever leftover pink I have. Skip it on to the end. And then you're just going to touch in where that is. Once you do that, you see, once you add in the beak, now look at that, look at how light mine is. It's kind of like I was talking about the people on beaches. You do not need to fill in every detail, okay? You're given the impression of what is there, and that is what we're doing. This is abstract, really. You're virgin and abstract with palette knife. When you've got that black on there as well, look, they've got those wee black feathers as well at the back. One of them's tucked in under. Right, I want you to look at the shape of your bird. Like I'm gonna tighten up my body here of this big one here because it's a bit messy. So you can watch me how I'm doing that if you want. It's basically scraping off the way you would any sort of paint. I want to tighten up just the shape of that body. Even the neck's a wee bit chunky around here. I'm going to tighten that up. So rather than bring the blue into it, you're using your palette knife just to take away. Good, I can hear scraping. Well done, everybody. This neck's a bit chunky over here too, because this guy's actually meant to be smaller. So I'm gonna scrape into it. Think of your real soft, those real bends. Try to create the bends in the neck and the bends up around the head. So you've got that lovely, it'll go a nice contrast against the waves going left and right when you've got that lovely S. Okay, for the features of the beak, what I'm doing now is all I'm doing is just around the head. At the minute, I'm just adding in a wee bit more colour to that. Oh, hi, Abraham. Abraham, mummy's on here. Look, you can't be okay, sorry, Bertie. Here, let me see before. But you've got a cupcake? Wow. Oh, that's okay. I thought it would be. Is that right? Can you just put on the program for him then? And I'll be sorry, Pat. I'm gonna make up another. I'm going to this. And how's everyone's oranges look? Palettes. We're nearing the end. Don't worry. Very patient, everybody. I just want to get another bit more of an orange. Did anybody get a palette that is a palette? You know that you rip the pages off. I would have used, or is everyone just using the plate? Yeah, you did. I need to get another one of those. They're really good. About 9 of them, and then I just go through them. So I'm going for a really strong orange here. You can see a real blood orange. To add in those wee features around, talking about S's, basically around the head and around the eye of the bird here. Around the eye of the bird, there's another S really there where you can see between the beak and the eye. Try and replicate that by moving the paint around. I've just messed that one up, so I'm going to revisit it. It gets kind of annoying now, and not annoying, but sometimes your paint will be so wet you'll not be able to apply others. So what I'd say is the more you have on that, the more you have on your palette knife, the easier it is to apply that down. And a few more wee touches where the okay, legs, people, going for the legs here. Okay, first of all, take your dark grey that you used for the beak, if you've still got it, add more white to it so that we get on the grey. Now, I do have it near my pink because their legs are like a pinky grey colour, but this is where I want you to score more than layer paint, okay? I want you just to score down where they are on the page. So I'm going to kind of concentrate. I'm going to clean my palette knife for now, and then I'm basically going to score in whatever paint I've got there and where they're going to be. So I'd like you to do the same. So let's say here and here. Can you see I've scored there? Quite do that for yourself first so you don't feel overwhelmed. When you've done that, same thing, except you're scoring with the grey. And even if what you do is you load it up on the side, and you can do your side as well. You can do the side of the palette knife. And as you do that, you're just going to build that up with more colour and with darker black, darker grey. Focus on the wee knuckles as well, if you want. Remember, there was our knuckles, gosh, joints. Very light touch you need, just to hint that it's there. Get the foot in as well. And pull the shadow out a wee bit using whatever black, whatever's on your. Get it so you can really hear the score. Are we jointing? Good work. Don't get too lost in the detail, remember? Right, like from here, you can tell it's flamingos, right? Take your paint thing and hold it away from you for a second, if you can, or sit back from it. They are flamingos, and they're chunky flamingos. I love them. Let me see, if you don't mind. I know you're all being very, it is a lot, right? Palette knife is a lot. This is an hour long, and it's just over an hour. Gorgeous. Claire, brilliant. Love the pink. Fab, Emma. Look at that. Are you doing it on paper as well? What's that?
Yeah, it's on paper. I just drew like a
Really
small-
worked.
Yeah.
Good. No, the only reason. Well done, Lydia. That's amazing. Anne, lovely. Right. So tighten up these beaks. Let me see, Michael. Lovely, good pink there as well. Great, great blending of the sand. Emma, the only reason I say about the paper is just because I don't want people to feel sad if it does any kind of bone. So no. Always join whichever way you can. I use everything. Like even my oil is on a corrugated card. And when I took it to one of the framers, they're like, this can't work. But it has, and it's like 7 or 8 years in one of the pieces. So and I always go around museums and look to see what they've painted on, because I was taught you can paint on anything. So good.
I've been painting this week and I'll upload some of the paintings I've done, but at the moment they're all sitting underneath some magazines with my weights on top of it to try and flatten them out.
Good. Well, that's good that you're using enough water.
I think this has been interesting because what I've been doing is not mixing enough paint, and then it's almost like getting too watery because I'm trying to like push it as far as I can.
Oh,
So,
whenever you're applying on with brush?
yeah, and so even with this, it's been quite difficult because I'm quite stingy. And so for me, putting so much paint on, I'm just like, oh God, this is so expensive. But you just need to do it.
Oh, sorry, I know. Although, do go to the works and get yourself some of the 2 pounds ones. They're great for like when you're practicing. I also meant to ask you, you're from New Zealand originally, are you?
Yeah, I am.
We were hoping to go there in January for a year.
Oh, really? A whole year?
Yeah, we were going to hopefully go to Mount Maunganui. Michael was going to be teaching out there.
Oh, nice. I can't even get back to New Zealand at the moment. It's really hard.
Then a pandemic happened, and now they won't let anybody in. Yeah.
I know. Like citizens can barely get in at the moment.
That started last week, didn't it? I think they said.
Yeah. So I'm trying to. My visa actually expires at the end of this year, so I'm trying to quickly get a partnership visa with my boyfriend, because just so I can stay longer, because it's too hard to go back to New Zealand at the moment.
Because they're quarantining a long time as well. Anybody that,
Yeah, we're in like a little bubble.
Where are you from?
I'm from Auckland.
Auckland, yay. That's where I basically was like, I'll do Mount Maunganui if you want, because he lived there when he was younger, Michael. Or I was like, Auckland would be the preference because the art, I've been there once but I loved all the art.
Yeah, no, Mount Maunganui is beautiful, so you would have been really inspired there, I think.
Well, I was just looking for a tan, Emma, you know. No, I was not. I'd love to be there. I would go in a heartbeat, but that's why we decided New Zealand's not happening. We're going to sell the house. Okay, so the grey that you've used in the legs as well, can you put some of that into your nice feathers too? Doesn't have to be bright, bright white. We're going to get back to the white in a minute. Then our legs. My legs are really quite pale at the minute, so I'm going to try with a very dark black, blacky blue, navy color. I'm going to try and just scoop that onto the edge here so it's heavy on one edge. And I'm going to just hint in where that is and where the knuckle is. So Claire, you've been painting as well, haven't you? Like, I love the thought of people like taking their time to paint.
Yeah, well, I've been bothering you, haven't I? Because I just keep sending you pictures going, look what I've done.
I'm delighted. I just love that you both are thinking of doing it. Anne, have you been doing any painting of late?
I painted my box of chocolates.
Amazing. With the open, did you send it?
Uh-huh.
Where, to me?
Yes.
On the grip? On the grip? No? Or where did you send that?
I have no idea.
Right. I will bet. We'll try, put it in the grip. Put it in the grip. I'd love to see it. Or did I see it? I can't even remember. No, I don't think I did.
Only did it yesterday. Finished it yesterday.
Dawn, so did you do it with, was it chocolates that are open?
Wait, I'll go and get it. Hold on.
Okay. So for your legs to tighten up as well, mine are very thick, so I'm going to use the sand to navigate round and really make it look so you've got those bony bits and then your very thin wee bits in between. We're almost done. We're going to then mix a nice, I'm going to put in a wee bit of, there's actually a bit of pink on those joints and on the feet. So add in a wee bit of a dark pink if you can. So that's white with a lot of red, a lot of red with white. I don't know if you were in my class, and I was telling about I taught someone in here, like a group of 5 before people, and one woman used all of the leftover dregs to make this amazing painting because she hated waste. She was like, I can't cope with this. And it is right, like that's where it's hard to read with palette knife, because look how much red I put out and how little I need. So it's not a bad way to be, and that's what I think is quite good, hopefully, about my classes. I teach it's okay if you've changed the, you know, if you're mixing a color similar, but you don't have to have exactly the same color every time.
I found when I was doing paintings this week that I was wanting to use up color, and if I had been doing it, say, on my iPad where I had every option, I wouldn't have made those decisions. So it kind of forced me into making decisions that I wouldn't make, and it actually turns out way better.
Yeah, and it turns out what? Sorry?
It turns out so much better than if, like, whatever you had in your head,
yeah,
it's like whatever you're just trying to use up, it makes more sense.
Yeah, I know.
Really good.
And that's what I mean about the harmony. Always remember that whatever you've got there, you've used in it. So just pulling that out. Let me see. Sorry. Oh, that is gorgeous, Anne. Look at the tones on the chocolate. That's a lot of patience. Well done. Oh, please do share it in the group. That is gorgeous.
And Stuart says I didn't eat any of them.
I know, the whole time. Are they even still, do they still exist? No.
No.
Michael got for old school milk tray for his birthday back in May, and I loved the strawberry and the caramel ones, so I ate them all, and he was so cross, but he forgot there's a second layer. I was like, there was the oh, right, shouting there in the background. Right, last thing we're going to do. If you've got your pink, I want you to make a really light version of it. If you don't, just take white, pure white. Yes, okay, and add in a little bit of red or a little bit of black. So you're going to make, you know, the thing I talk about.
You think I need more light?
Yeah, definitely.
Lydia, you follow so well. What do you see when you get to GCSE? You'll be like, well, I've been painting with the adults since I was 7, 8, 7. So I've got my white, which is white, but just a little bit of another color in it. Look at your face here of the flamingos, a little bit of white here, a little bit of white here, some of the feathers, and then remember our rocks along the back. That's what we're going to just do. Okay, so a little bit of white here. I'm going to have to actually wrap up because Abraham's going to be in his own. And then a little bit over here where the beak is. So you're just indicating that, see? And the same with the feathers. Go for a few just up around the top. Yes, I'm coming now. Sorry. Oh, I'll just message her and say it's okay, I'll leave it, or else are you going in our part of the beach? Yeah, you can't all go in his. Okay. That's fine. Yes, okay. But she's on a call. Anyway, yes, please do leave me over. Put the salad, the feta and the lettuce and tomato in a bag and I'll bring it with me.
Well, I can say to him we'll feed first and then go. Okay,
thank you. Sorry, our neighbour's son has autism, and he's good friends with my boys. So he has a schedule, and he was scheduled in to go to the beach with the boys, and I don't want to disrupt that because he'll not want to wait, even though it's raining outside here at the beach. Lovely day for the beach. Wait till I just say no, it's okay. Michael, it's okay. Don't disrupt Micah. It's okay. Just take me in the car now. I'm just wrapping up. Yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah. Okay, last thing, guys, with our white. Now, remember, please do revisit if you want to. Just the bits where our I'm just dotting in there where the dark's going to go on for the, what do you call those, stones, and then your dark navy or grey. You're just dotting those. I wanted you to enjoy that before I'm rushing you. Your black really at the end. I'd rather you don't use completely solid black. Try and mix in a little bit of white with it or something. And then you're just dabbing that real pinching that we talked about. And remember, it was quite a quick line along there. Okay, how are we looking? I'm going to add in a second leg before I finish here because I think that one leg looks a bit. The only thing is the summertime, your paint will dry quicker than, apart from Emma, so they're all drying. Oh no, they're not drying, they're getting flattened, aren't they? Thought they're drying on the radiator. Can I see how you're getting on? Do you mind if I take a snapshot, everybody? So beautiful. Oh, well done. I'm so proud of y'all. Look at that. Well done, everyone. Have a little look at everybody else's if you can. Do you want to put yours right in the screen? Yep. Excellent. Look at that. So look at everybody's, how we all started the same template. I'm always so happy to see that. Brilliant. Can I see yours, Michael, too?
Yeah.
Well done. Look at that. Awesome. So tighten up your S's by taking the paint that's scraping it away, but also moving that colour in before it dries on you. So you get your S's, think about those curves in the S's. So you tighten up the neck. Remember, you don't fill in every detail. And also if you want to blend any more here or above. Well done. I enjoyed that. Did you find that frustrating, enjoyment, or what? Did you?
Excellent.
Thank you, Ali.
Loved it. Thank you.
Oh, good. Because you're all such quiet workers. It's not like so I'm so pleased. Thank you for joining me. And please do share the chocolates in the group ban and share any of yours, Emma. Michael, you've been painting recently?
Haven't been away, but I hope to do some soon.
Yeah, it's so lovely the two of you do it together. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.